Okay, who let acid back into the writer's room? Wasn't me. It was totally you! Ah, come on, what harm does a little LSD cause? We have got one guy wanting to make it a 3-year-old brought down satellites, another who's obsessed with furries now, and someone who's turning all the iconic monsters into cats. What? That's not that crazy. Is there anyone doing anything worse? One guy is already writing the next Roman fan service scene. Okay, yeah, maybe we've gone too far. So yeah, if you couldn't tell from that little bit, this was something, this was something else. I think I'm gonna crack. This show's just going for it. Even if I don't know what it's going for, I can't stop watching. So yeah, let's start right at the beginning, because if you start from anywhere else, you're gonna get a headache. So, this episode begins with immediately introducing us to the dude who showed up at the end of last week's episode. I think his name is pronounced Nail, but it's spelled Neil. We'll go with Nail because it makes him sound more antagonistic. So, the episode opens with Nail. It's also kind of funny to hear Belle Crannell's voice just a few days before Danmachi Season 3. But this episode begins with Nail just giving us his backstory. And while, yes, this is another exposition dump to get the plot moving, where it maybe could have done earlier. The reason I'm okay with this is because this expo dump was based around setting up and establishing character. We need to know who this guy is, what he's about, and why he's so strange. So I think for this particular situation, just having him tell you everything at once doesn't actually hurt anything, and did a pretty good job of establishing that this guy is just fucking bizarre and ludicrous. Oh my god! The minute they said, when I was 3 years old, I immediately knew we were going in a very strange direction. So when this guy was 3, he hacked Goha and proceeded to cause all their satellites to crash, which somehow didn't cause global devastation because no one's talked about it. And his parents were just like, oh yeah, let's just let him duel. You know, if he can do all this, I'm sure a children's card game will fix our child's need for death and destruction. That's how that works. And when the kid was 5, he won like a big prestigious duel tournament. Meanwhile, many big-name Yu-Gi-Oh players struggle to get first place at a regional. He wins a big tournament at 5, gets scouted by Goha, who then use a 5-year-old as a expert programmer. Suddenly, the way we've represented Goha makes a little more sense if this is how things work there. So yeah, so this kid does this, and presumably his life goes all hunky-dory and no one else dies because of his satellites. So when he's 11, same age as everyone else, Yugioh starts rush duels, and this is actually the guy who has been put in charge of stopping the rush duels. Stopping them from going forward. It's sort of neat that it's not directly said if he supports Goha ideology or if this is all just kind of fun and a game to him. I think that's kind of a neat idea. We'll see where that goes. And then we catch up with everybody. This kid is floating on a chair. Everyone is walking through the sewers, which, because future, all look like crazy evil layers, but I assume there's rats and shit around them. And then he's like, okay, we're going to essentially do what the last story arc was. I'm going to pitch you all against a bunch of duelists. Some of you will win, some of you will lose. And then Yugioh will face me, and there's probably going to be an ideological discussion. Oh, and also, I as well was tempted to accede to Otis's kind of hopes and whatevers, but I couldn't, so now I'm against you, Yugioh, and I want to beat you in a duel to find out. I am also, just like Roa, shown off to be highly intelligent and clever and cutthroat, and Yugioh's just like, okay, let's do it, let's go. It's not like this guy could probably kill us all in 5 seconds, let's just do it, let's go. I'm Yugioh, damn it! So then they walk around some more, and we meet our first opponent, where the last arc featured them facing other children. and most Yu-Gi-Ohs have them facing off against an intimidating presence. We got a fucking cat guy! What? Why? How? What? The minute this guy showed up, even in the preview, I was just like, what the fuck? It's not just the fact that it's random. It's not just the fact that he comes out of nowhere. And like, why is he a cat guy? What is going on? Who is this guy? Fuck the rest of the plot. I want 20 episodes dedicated to following how this guy got to this point in his life. It's so weird and random and bonkers. I can't look away. And all of his dialogue is delivered with this just joy and love of acting that I can't help but appreciate it. So then they go in and it's time to duel, and he's got his own special duel arena. Again, we're in the source. So he's got his own special arena, and Luke goes up to face him, resulting in a duel that is so silly. When Luke goes up against this creepy cat guy, also this guy looks like a full-blown adult. I don't trust these children being alone with him. So Luke goes up against this guy, and we get what we've expecting we would. We get the concept, we get the execution of the idea of Luke worried about Yugioh also wanting to be the Duel King. Many of us had our own beliefs of how this would go. I don't think anyone expected this. So the big thing about this guy's deck is that it's a kind of like a guessing game. You have to figure out what the top card of the deck is, that kind of thing. It's basically spirals, but more defensive. And so therefore, naturally, Luke gets the guesses wrong. And I do think it's kind of a funny little idea that the minute Luke has any sort of anxiety of having to, like, guess or think or figure something out, he kind of just sort of breaks down. And the thing is, you could almost make the argument this kind of fits in very well with his character. Luke is always very much, I'm going to do this. He's always very exact, sure thing, go for it, I believe this is what will happen. So when put with the possibility of, well, what if something different happens? What about the unknown? It kind of freaks him out. And I sort of feel like that actually fits very well with his personality. So again, it takes advantage of this show's great strength, and that is uses the characters. So, Luke is then put into the scenario. This then brings up Luke's anxiety of what will eventually happen with Yugioh if Yugioh wants to become the Duel King as well. Also, the bit where Yugioh just goes, sayonara, in his fantasy was fucking hilarious. All the visual gags in this episode were amazing. The whole duel has this very, like, fun thing. I think it's sort of funny. The cats are like red eyes black cat, blue eyes white cat, odd eyes twin tail cat. I love that. That is the perfect way to like do homages and like play winks and nods. And hey, Odd Eyes got the shout out. I half expected it was going to be Dark Magician Cat or something, but no, they gave it to Odd Eyes, card we all kind of want to forget about because of how ugly it looks. I mean, that being said, a part of me almost wishes it was Galaxy Eyes Photon Cat. I think that could have looked really funny. But this was still a lot of fun to watch. And then, of course, I actually really like the way Yugioh gets Luke back on track. Because I half expected Yugioh was just going to say that, yeah, sure, if you want it, that's fine. But no, he's like, no, I won't give it to you, but you can earn it. Like, you can make your own destiny, you can strive forward, you have just as much a chance as anybody and just as much ability as everybody. Except the part where you're a moron, but he doesn't mention that. So then Luke, of course, naturally fulfills the moral, and he puts the 3 cards in the order he wants, but he forgets the order, and I love that! That was so fucking funny! It was just great! And so then, Luke goes in with his weird, kind of looks more like a Narukami from Vanguard, goes in, attacks, wins, and you assume the next plot's going to go on, but Nail is just like, nah, bye, day's over, go home. And he's like, go do your homework. I don't know why, that's really funny, and it turns out they're out by the river, so we will continue next week with Roa coming. And of course, naturally, Luke looks to his Doar, and it's a star, but of course, naturally, it's a plane, and I knew that was coming, but I laughed because I love these characters, and this was so fucking wacky. So yeah, that was this week's Yugioh 7s. It was strange, it was crazy, it went in every direction you could hope, and goddamn it, do I love it. So yeah, Give me your thoughts about this below. Tell me if you're sober, because I feel like I am not. I just got the contact high. And as for the TCG question of the week, first up, before we go further, I'm just really happy for the response to last week's TCG question of the week. Didn't know so many of you were okay with Sinister Serpent. Can't say I disagree with you, though. But as for today's TCG question of the week, the big thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World is that the Zeo world, whatever you want to call it's fine, dropped in Duel Links, I think like today or yesterday. I actually got rid of Duel Links from my phone a while ago. I just needed space, and I just don't play it that much. But are you playing it? Are you excited for Xyz? Are you excited for Tellarknights? Because they're kind of the first anything you can really do with Xyz in the game. Tell me about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for Roa versus Elvis. I need to see this.